Have you ever received a gift that seemed innocent but later became a source of misfortune in your life? You're not alone. In my years of studying the subtle energies that influence our daily experiences, I've discovered that certain objects carry energetic imprints that can disrupt our personal vibration and attract negative circumstances. Today I want to share with you 8 gifts you should never accept from anyone because they attract bad luck. This knowledge has transformed my life and the lives of thousands who have applied these principles, and I believe it will do the same for you. Before we dive in, I want you to understand something crucial. Everything in this universe is energy. Every object, every thought, every intention carries a specific frequency. When we bring certain objects into our personal space, we're essentially inviting their energetic signature to intermingle with our own. This is why being selective about what we accept into our lives is not superstition, it's quantum physics applied to everyday existence. Let me share a personal experience. Years ago, I received what seemed like a thoughtful present from an acquaintance, an antique watch that had been in their family for generations. I was flattered by the gesture and proudly wore it. Within weeks, I noticed strange disruptions in my schedule. Important meetings were missed, opportunities slipped through my fingers, and my usually impeccable timing seemed completely off. It wasn't until I removed that watch from my possession that my timing synchronicity returned. This taught me a powerful lesson about the hidden influence of objects in our lives. The first gift you should never accept from anyone is sharp objects, particularly knives or scissors. In many traditions around the world, accepting sharp objects as gifts is believed to cut the relationship between the giver and receiver. Beyond cultural beliefs, there's an energetic component at play. Sharp objects are designed to sever, to divide, to cut through. When given as gifts, they carry this divisive energy into relationships and circumstances. If someone insists on giving you a knife set or scissors, there's a simple energetic remedy. Offer them a symbolic amount of money in exchange. This transforms the transaction from a gift to a purchase, neutralizing the potential for relationship severance. I remember a couple who attended one of my seminars. They had been experiencing unusual conflicts in their marriage that began shortly after their wedding. When I spoke with them about gifts they had received, they mentioned a beautiful set of kitchen knives given by a relative. Once they performed the simple act of purchasing these knives from the giver with a small coin, their relationship tensions began to ease. The energy of division had been neutralized through this conscious act. The second gift to be wary of is empty wallets or purses. When you receive an empty vessel meant to hold money, you're symbolically and energetically accepting emptiness in your financial sphere. The universe responds to symbolism more powerfully than most realize. If someone gives you a wallet or purse, it should always contain at least a coin or small bill, signifying that your financial container will always be filled. This small act sets a powerful precedent for abundance rather than lack. I once worked with a financial advisor who couldn't understand why his personal finances were in disarray despite his professional success. During our consultation, I noticed he was using an empty wallet that had been gifted to him by a colleague. When I asked about it, he confirmed that it had been given to him completely empty. We performed a simple ritual of cleansing the wallet, placing a special coin inside it, and setting intentions for abundance. Within 3 months, he reported unexpected financial opportunities and a resolution to long-standing money blocks. The third gift that can bring misfortune is clocks. In several traditions, clocks are associated with the countdown of life and can symbolically represent limited time or even death. The ticking of a clock can create subtle stress in your energetic field, a constant reminder of time passing. If you've been given a clock and subsequently experienced sleep disturbances, increased anxiety, or a sense of time pressure, consider removing it from your personal space or performing an energy clearing on it. A professor I worked with had been experiencing chronic insomnia that began shortly after receiving an antique grandfather clock as a housewarming gift. Medical interventions had proved ineffective. When we removed the clock from his bedroom area to a detached garage space, his sleep patterns normalized within days. The constant energetic reminder of time passing had been disrupting his natural cycles of rest and rejuvenation. The fourth gift that can attract misfortune is mirrors, particularly second-hand or antique mirrors. Mirrors are energetically powerful objects that, according to many metaphysical traditions, can store impressions of everything they've reflected. A mirror from an unknown source may carry energetic imprints of previous environments, emotions, and events. If you must accept a mirror as a gift, it's essential to cleanse it thoroughly before hanging it in your home. Salt water, sunlight, or specific sound frequencies can help reset the mirror's energetic field. I worked with a woman who had begun experiencing nightmares and a sense of being watched after placing an antique mirror in her bedroom. This mirror had been a gift from a well-meaning friend who had purchased it at an estate sale. When we traced the timeline of her disturbances, they perfectly aligned with the introduction of the mirror into her space. After performing a thorough energetic cleansing ritual on the mirror, her sleep disturbances ceased and the unsettling sensations disappeared. The fifth gift to be cautious about is handkerchiefs. This may seem strange in our modern world where handkerchiefs are less common, but the principle applies to any gift meant to collect tears or emotional residue. Handkerchiefs traditionally symbolize sorrow and tears. Accepting them as gifts can subconsciously invite experiences that bring emotional pain or reasons to cry. If you receive a handkerchief set as a gift, transform its energy by using them for positive purposes, perhaps as decorative items or repurposed into something that brings joy. A creative professional I counseled had been experiencing unusual emotional volatility and frequent crying spells that were out of character for her normally balanced temperament. During our work together, she mentioned a beautiful set of embroidered handkerchiefs she had received as a birthday gift, which she kept in her desk drawer at work. We discussed the energetic implications, and she decided to transform them into decorative sachets filled with uplifting herbs. Her emotional stability returned as she consciously changed the purpose and energy of these objects. The sixth gift that can attract negative circumstances is anything broken, chipped, or cracked. The energy of brokenness can extend into other areas of life when we surround ourselves with damaged objects. Well-meaning friends might give you an antique with character in the form of chips or cracks, but these imperfections can energetically broadcast a frequency of damage that attracts similar experiences. If you truly love the item, have it properly repaired before bringing it into your energetic field, or use it as an opportunity to learn the art of kintsugi, the Japanese practice of repairing broken pottery with gold, transforming damage into beauty. I recall a client who had been experiencing a strange pattern of accidents and minor injuries. During a home consultation, I noticed several chipped figurines prominently displayed on her living room shelf. When I inquired about them, she explained they were gifts from a relative who frequently found bargains at thrift stores. Once she removed these damaged items from her environment, her accident-prone pattern subsided. The subtle broadcast of brokenness had been attracting similar experiences into her physical reality. The seventh gift to decline is certain plants, particularly those with thorns or sharp leaves. While plants generally bring positive energy into our spaces, those with aggressive defensive mechanisms can create an energy of hostility or self-protection that may manifest as relationship difficulties or unnecessary conflicts. If someone gives you a cactus or thorny plant, consider keeping it in spaces where you deal with external energies, like a home office where you conduct business, rather than in intimate spaces like bedrooms or family rooms. A therapist I worked with had been puzzled by increasing tensions in his family home despite his professional skills in conflict resolution. During our consultation, I noticed several large cacti placed throughout his living spaces, all gifts from clients who knew he enjoyed plants. When he relocated these thorny plants to his external office space, the home atmosphere shifted noticeably toward harmony. The subtle aggressive energy of the thorns had been contributing to an environment where people felt the need to be defensively on guard. The eighth gift to be wary of is second-hand or vintage jewelry. Jewelry is worn close to the body and can absorb significant energetic imprints from previous owners. A ring worn during a difficult marriage, a necklace worn through periods of depression, or earrings present during traumatic events. All these can retain energetic memories that may influence the new owner. If you receive jewelry with unknown history, it's essential to cleanse it thoroughly before wearing it. Moonlight, running water, or burial in sea salt overnight can help reset its energetic signature. I once counseled a woman who had begun experiencing uncharacteristic mood swings and relationship insecurities after receiving a beautiful vintage engagement ring. Her fiancé had purchased it from an estate sale, appreciating its unique design and lower price point. When we explored the possibility of energetic imprints, she decided to have the stones reset in a new design while honoring the original. After this reconstitution of the jewelry's form, her emotional stability returned, and the ring became a true symbol of her current relationship rather than carrying unknown historical imprints. Now that I've shared these 8 gifts to avoid, I want to emphasize something important. Energy is neutral. It's our awareness and intention that give us power in relation to it. If you've already accepted some of these items and feel concerned, don't worry. Awareness is the first step to transformation. You can cleanse, repurpose, or mindfully remove these objects from your space. The key is conscious interaction rather than fearful avoidance. Let me share a powerful clearing technique you can use for any object that you suspect may carry negative energy. Begin by holding the item in your hands or placing your hands near it if it's large. Close your eyes and visualize a brilliant white light emanating from your palms, surrounding the object completely. See this light dissolving any residual energies, memories, or imprints that don't serve your highest good. As you do this, express gratitude for the object's service and set a clear intention for how you want it to function in your life moving forward. This simple practice can reset an object's energetic field and align it with your personal vibration. Beyond these specific items, I want to offer you a broader principle for navigating gifts and possessions in your life. Develop your sensitivity to how objects make you feel. When you receive a gift, pause before incorporating it into your space. Hold it. Observe your bodily sensations, your emotions, and your thoughts. Do you feel expansion or contraction, lightness or heaviness, energy or fatigue? Your body is a remarkable instrument for detecting energetic compatibility. Trust these subtle signals. I've worked with many people who dismissed their initial discomfort with a gifted item, only to realize later that their intuition had been alerting them to an energetic mismatch. One executive kept a sculpture in his office that had been given by an important client despite feeling vaguely unsettled whenever he looked at it. His business began experiencing unusual obstacles and communication breakdowns. When he finally acknowledged his intuitive response and removed the sculpture, collaborative flow returned to his work environment. Sometimes the most important wisdom comes through our subtle bodily responses, rather than our logical mind. Let's talk about how to decline gifts graciously when you sense they may carry negative energy. This requires both tact and authenticity. You might say, "Thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm currently simplifying my possessions and being very intentional about what I bring into my space." Or perhaps, "I appreciate your generosity. In my tradition, this particular item has special significance that requires certain handling. Would you mind if I admired it in your home instead?" Most people will respect clear boundaries when they're expressed with kindness and appreciation for the gesture. If declining isn't possible or would cause significant relationship strain, accept the gift, but use the energetic cleansing techniques I've described before bringing it into your regular environment. Remember that your conscious intention is powerful. You can also designate a specific area in your home, perhaps a shelf or cabinet, where you keep gifts that you've received but don't resonate with your energy. This creates both physical and energetic separation while honoring the sentiment behind the giving. It's also worth considering the energy behind the giving itself. Gifts offered with genuine love and positive intention carry a beneficial frequency, even if the item itself might otherwise be on our caution list. Conversely, even seemingly innocent objects given with envy, obligation, or manipulation can carry disruptive energy. The consciousness behind the giving imbues the gift with its primary energetic signature. I worked with a family experiencing unusual conflict after a holiday gathering where many gifts had been exchanged. As we explored the dynamics, it became clear that certain presents had been given out of competitive obligation rather than genuine generosity. We created a simple ceremony where family members could privately reconsider their gifts, keeping those that felt aligned with love and consciously releasing those that carried complicated energies. This conscious process transformed both their relationship to the objects and to each other. Now I want to address something important, the difference between superstition and energetic awareness. Superstition comes from fear and rigid thinking. It says, never do this without understanding why. Energetic awareness, on the other hand, comes from conscious observation and flexible response. It invites us to notice patterns, understand principles, and make mindful choices. The guidelines I'm sharing aren't absolute rules, but invitations to greater awareness about the subtle influences in your life. When we operate from superstition, we give our power away to external objects and arbitrary rules. When we operate from energetic awareness, we reclaim our ability to shape our experience through conscious interaction with everything around us. The items I've mentioned aren't inherently bad. They simply carry specific energetic properties that may not serve everyone in every circumstance. Your discernment and intention are always the most powerful factors. Let me share an alternative perspective on gift giving that can transform this entire dynamic. Consider requesting and giving experiences rather than objects. A shared meal, a concert, a class, or a day in nature. These gifts create positive memories without the potential energetic complications of physical items. They strengthen bonds through shared experience rather than material exchange. Next time someone asks what you'd like as a gift, consider suggesting an experience you can enjoy together. I found that this shift toward experiential gifts has transformed my own celebration of special occasions. Rather than accumulating objects that may or may not align with my energy, I collect meaningful experiences that expand my perspective and deepen my connections. The energy of these experiences lives on in my consciousness as positive resources rather than potentially taking up physical and energetic space in my environment. If you do choose to give physical gifts, consider items that naturally carry positive frequencies. Fresh flowers bring the vibrant energy of life and beauty, though they naturally complete their cycle and don't create permanent clutter. Books transfer knowledge and can open new dimensions of understanding. Consumable gifts like special foods or handcrafted soaps can be enjoyed without permanent space requirements. Natural materials like wood, stone, or cotton generally carry more stable and harmonious energies than synthetic materials. One of the most enlightened approaches to gift giving I've encountered comes from a community that practices gift circles. In this tradition, useful items flow freely between community members as needs arise, without permanent ownership attachment. Nothing is seen as permanently belonging to anyone, but rather temporarily serving before moving on to where it's needed next. This fluid relationship with possessions creates remarkable abundance and prevents the stagnant energy that can accumulate around unused objects kept out of obligation or sentiment. Let's explore another dimension of this topic, the energy of clutter. Even gifts that might individually be energetically neutral can collectively create stagnation if they contribute to cluttered spaces. Every object in your environment requires a small amount of your attention and energy to maintain, clean, store, and process. When we accumulate beyond our capacity to mindfully engage with our possessions, we create energetic drains in our spaces. I've worked with many clients who experience significant life shifts simply by releasing the accumulated gifts they'd kept out of obligation. One woman had an entire cabinet of well-intended kitchen gadgets given by relatives over the years, none of which she actually used. The cabinet had become a source of subtle guilt and heaviness. When she mindfully thanked these objects and donated them to a community kitchen, she reported feeling an immediate lightness and improved flow in her cooking activities. The energy that had been tied up in maintaining these unnecessary possessions was released back into her creative expression. Consider this powerful question when deciding whether to keep gifted items. Does this object increase or decrease my energy when I interact with it? This simple inquiry cuts through social obligation and habitual attachment to reveal your true energetic relationship with your possessions. If an item consistently drains your energy through guilt, negative associations, or simple lack of resonance, giving yourself permission to release it can be profoundly liberating. This brings us to an important spiritual principle that applies to all possessions, whether gifted or personally acquired. Everything in the material world is in a constant state of flow. When we clutch too tightly to objects, we can inadvertently block the natural movement of energy in our lives. Learning to hold possessions lightly, appreciating them while they serve us, and releasing them when that service is complete, aligns us with the universe's natural abundance cycle. A practice I recommend to clients concerned about the energy of their possessions is a quarterly, conscious curation of their living spaces. Set aside time to physically handle each object, particularly those received as gifts, and check in with how they affect your energy. Express gratitude for the items that genuinely enhance your life. For those that don't, acknowledge the positive intention behind them, and then mindfully release them through donation, recycling, or repurposing. This regular practice prevents the accumulation of energetically draining items. The most energetically powerful position regarding possessions comes not from fearful avoidance of certain objects, but from developing a conscious, sovereign relationship with everything in your environment. When you recognize yourself as the primary energetic influence in your space, you can transform, neutralize, or enhance the vibration of most objects through your focused intention and awareness. I once visited a collector of historical artifacts, many of which had originated in challenging circumstances. What struck me was the peaceful, positive energy of his display room despite the potentially difficult histories of these objects. When I commented on this, he shared his practice of spending time with each new acquisition, acknowledging its past, while setting clear intentions for its energy in the present. This conscious stewardship transformed what could have been energetically heavy items into teachers and bearers of wisdom. This brings us to an important distinction, the difference between an object's history and its present energy. While some items may carry imprints from past experiences, your current conscious engagement with them can be the dominant energetic factor. This is why family heirlooms can be either burdensome links to difficult ancestral patterns or powerful connections to positive lineage strengths, depending on how you consciously relate to and frame them in your understanding. I worked with a woman who had inherited her grandmother's wedding ring, the same grandmother who had endured a difficult marriage, characterized by restriction and limited self-expression. Rather than refusing this meaningful family connection, she created a beautiful ritual. She cleansed the ring thoroughly, then spent an evening recounting all the strengths and wisdom her grandmother had developed through her challenges. She set a clear intention that in wearing this ring, she was honoring her grandmother's resilience while choosing a different experience of partnership for herself. This conscious reframing transformed the ring's energy from a potential carrier of limitation to a symbol of evolutionary growth across generations.